Hey everyone, today we are going to dive into a medical myth that, let's be honest, a lot of us have fallen for. It's a simple mistake, but one that has some pretty serious consequences for all of us. So let's jump right in.
Okay, you know the feeling. You've got a killer cold, maybe the flu, you feel absolutely miserable, and all you want is for it to be over. And it is so tempting to reach for what we think is the big gun in our medical arsenal, antibiotics. But is that actually the right call?
Well, that very idea is what we're here to bust wide open today. The belief that antibiotics are some kind of magic bullet for any illness is one of the biggest and most dangerous myths in modern medicine.
So should you be taking antibiotics for that nasty cold? The short answer is a huge, definite no. And the reason why is actually super interesting. It all comes down to a classic case of mistaken identity happening on a microscopic level.
To really get to the bottom of this, we need to meet the two main culprits that make us sick: bacteria and viruses. And as you're about to see, they are worlds apart. So on one side, you've got bacteria. These are living, single-celled organisms, and they can multiply all by themselves. But on the other hand, you have viruses, which are way simpler. They're basically just little packets of genetic code that are totally helpless until they invade a host cell, like one of ours, to reproduce. Let's look a little closer at bacteria. These are basically self-sufficient little life forms, and a key feature for them is a protective cell wall. You can think of it like their own personal suit of armor. But here's the thing. That armor is also their greatest weakness, a perfect target for our medicines.
Now compare that to a virus. It's tiny, it has no cell walls, and it can't survive on its own. It's basically a biological hijacker. Its whole mission is to break into our own cells and force them to make more copies of itself. This one difference is the absolute key to understanding everything.
So, because bacteria and viruses are so fundamentally different, it just makes sense that we need totally different ways to fight them. It really is all about using the right tool for the job. So how does an antibiotic actually get the job done? Well, it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a guided missile, programmed to find and destroy the cell walls of bacteria. Once it breaks down that armor, the bacteria can't reproduce and the infection is over. But, and this is so crucial, it only works on bacteria. You know, here's probably the easiest way to think about it. An antibiotic is like a key that's been perfectly cut to fit a specific lock on a bacterium's cell wall. A virus doesn't even have that lock. So using an antibiotic on a virus is like trying to open your front door with your car key. It's just the wrong tool. It's never, ever going to work. So what do we do about viruses? Well, for them, we have antivirals. These drugs work in a totally different way. They don't kill the virus directly, but they basically run interference, blocking it from hijacking our cells and making copies. This gives our own immune system the chance it needs to step in and clear out the infection. Okay, so using the wrong medicine is just ineffective, right? No big deal? Well, unfortunately, it's a much bigger deal than that. This simple mistake, using the wrong tool, is actually fueling a massive global health crisis, the rise of the superbug.
See, when you take an antibiotic for a virus, you're not just wasting medicine or risking some nasty side effects. You are actively helping to create a much bigger and way more dangerous problem for every single one of us. And that problem is called antibiotic resistance. Every unnecessary dose of antibiotics is like a training camp for the bacteria that are already living in your body. It gives them a chance to meet the drug, figure out how to fight back, and evolve defenses against the very medicines that are supposed to kill them.
And what graduates from this training camp? Well, we call them superbugs. These are bacteria that have evolved to the point where they're immune to our best antibiotics, turning what used to be common, treatable infections into legitimate, deadly threats. Look, understanding all this isn't just a science lesson. It's about knowing how to protect yourself, your family, and really your whole community. So let's lock in the essentials, because knowing your enemy is always the first step to winning the battle.
So here's the bottom line, what you really need to remember. Antibiotics are for bacteria, period. They are completely useless against viruses like the cold and the flu. Every single time they're misused, we run the risk of creating more superbugs. So the absolute best thing you can do is trust your doctor to make the right diagnosis.
And this all leaves us with a really critical thought. We've had these miracle drugs for generations, but we're at a very real risk of losing them. By understanding how they work, and more importantly, how they don't work, we can all play a part in making sure they're around for the future. The real question is, will we?